Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Hey, welcome. This is a Fusion Mobile e-learning platform. This is yet another biological session. Remember, my humble self, I'm Olajide, and I would be taking you on supporting systems and tissues, supporting tissues and systems, supporting systems and tissues. And on that note, we'll be looking extensively at this concept, skeleton, S-K-E-L-E-T-O-N, skeleton. That's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at the definition of skeleton, the forms of skeleton, the types, the classification, and the importance as well. Now, what is skeleton? Skeleton is the bony framework of the body. Skeleton is the framework of the body. Skeleton is the bony system of the body. Skeleton is a platform on which every body part is built. So we can now say that skeleton is the framework of the body, or the bony framework of the body, or the bony structure of the body that gives the body rigidity and support. So now, what are the importance of skeleton? It gives the body rigidity, it gives the body support, it gives the body shape. And what differentiates mammals from other lower organisms is the concept of skeleton. So now we're briefly going to be looking at the forms of skeleton. There are basically three notable forms of skeleton. We have the chitin, C-H-I-T-I-N. In some other literature texts, it is called cortical. As a matter of fact, chitin makes up the cortical. The major component of the cortical is a chitin. So we have the chitin, we have the cartilage, we have the and the lastly, aside from the chitin, the cartilage, lastly, we have bones, B-O-N-E-S. So basically, we're going to be looking at chitin. What is a chitin? C-H-I-T-I-N. Chitin is a tough, light and flexible structure. Chitin is a tough, light and flexible structure. It is a major component of the arthropod. As a matter of fact, the arthropod is the most successful group of organisms. They are the most successful group of organisms. They are abundant and they are just everywhere. Major component of arthropod. Some group of arthropod are called crustaceans. We have the insecta, we have the myriapoda and all that. They are all under the arthropod. As I've said earlier, chitin is a major component of cortical. And one thing about chitin again is that it is freely permeable to water. It is freely permeable to water. It allows water to pass. It is freely permeable to water. And chitin, as well as other forms of skeleton, are strengthened by protein deposits and minerals. They are strengthened by protein deposits and minerals. So we're done with that. The next on our list is cartilage. What is cartilage? Cartilage is found in complex vertebrates. Cartilage act as shock absorber. They act as shock absorber. As a matter of fact, they help in cushioning effect. And when bones want to slide against bones and all that, cartilage are there. They help in cushioning effect. They act as shock absorber. The living cells that are found in cartilage are called chondroblasts. Chondrocytes, rather. They are called chondrocytes. The living cells that are found in cartilage are called chondrocytes. As I've said earlier, they act as shock absorber. They are found in the entire skeleton of sharks and rays. As a matter of fact, sharks and rays are called cartilaginous species. They are also called chondrites. It means they have cartilage as their major component. As I said earlier, they are found in complex vertebrae. They act as shock absorber. And in mammals, there are basically three types of cartilage. Or the hyaline cartilage. Hyaline cartilage is found in the epiglottis. It's found in the hyaline cartilage is found in the tracheae. It has to do with respiration and all that. Those notable parts, important part. We have the hyaline cartilage. We have the fibrocartilage. Fibrocartilage is found as disc in between bones. And lastly, we have elastic cartilage. Elastic cartilage is found in the ear, in the epiglottis, in the ear. It's found in the ear region. Elastic. And lastly, one thing about cartilage is that cartilage does not have its own blood. Rather, it gets its blood from neighboring tissues. It does not have its own blood. It gets its blood from neighboring tissues. So next on our list happens to be bone. Bone is the hardest mineral in the body. The hardest mineral in the body is called bone. The living cells in the body is called osteocyte. Osteocyte is the living cells in the bone. It is called osteocyte. The protein component of the bone is called collagen. The protein component of the bone is called collagen, and bones also have minerals. These minerals help to harden the bones. The minerals are calcium carbonate and calcium phosphate, calcium triosocarbonate, and calcium tetraoxophosphate. One notable characteristic of the bone is that they have their own blood. Unlike the cartilage that gets its own blood from neighboring tissues, the bone have got their own blood. Now, young embryo skeleton, while you're still in your embryo, the skeleton is that of cartilage. But as you get to grow up, they get replaced by bones. So how does this replacement come to be? It is very, very easy. As you tend to grow up, those bones become hardened. The process by which cartilage are hardened into bones is called ossification. The process by which cartilage are hardened into bones is called ossification. Ossification is the process by which cartilage are hardened into bones. When you impregnate them with minerals, minerals such as calcium carbonate and calcium phosphate, we call it ossification. And it will interest you to know that there are 206 bones in the body. There are 206 bones in the body. However, babies, young ones growing up have more bones than adults. Why? Because their bones are yet to fuse. The number of bones that I've got cannot be compared to the number of bones that a newborn baby has got or a 5-year-old baby has got. It differs. As you tend to grow up, your bones become fused and they attain this 206. But if you're still a baby, you can have 270 something or other, more than this anyway. And so lastly, I'll be looking at hydrostatic. Okay, so we're done with the forms. We've looked at chitin, we've looked at cartilage, and we've looked at bones. So now we'll be looking at types of skeleton. There are basically 3 types of skeleton. We have hydrostatic, we have exo, and we have endo. Endoskeleton is an internal skeleton, the skeleton inside the body. The skeleton outside the body is called exoskeleton. And while the skeleton in a fluid body of soft-bodied animal is called hydrostatic skeleton. Hydrostatic skeleton is found in soft-bodied animal. A very good example is your earthworm and even your cockroach as well. You can get hydrostatic skeleton. Exoskeleton is found in arthropod. Exoskeleton is found in arthropod. The main component of exoskeleton is chitin. The one thing about chitin is that it undergoes molting or ecdysis. Now, chitin gets old. Imagine you having just one particular type of body. It gets to a particular time and you feel like I need to change this body. I need to touch up another. So the same thing applies to arthropod and other. Those organisms having chitin, the chitin gets old, and what happens is that the chitin will shed off the shells. The shells will get shed off and they will now be renewed. They will have new ones. So the process by which they change their shells from old to new is called ecdysis or molting. Ecdysis. Or you can call it molting, ecdysis or molting, so at that stage, they change their shells, they shed it, they change their shells periodically. So now we'll be looking at endoskeleton. Endoskeleton is an internal skeleton. It is found in all vertebrates. Endoskeleton is found in all vertebrates. Note, the fact that you have an exoskeleton doesn't necessarily mean you will not have an endoskeleton. As a matter of fact, all vertebrates have got endoskeleton. Tortoise possess endoskeleton and exoskeleton. Endoskeleton is an internal skeleton. It's found in all vertebrates. It is composed mainly of bones, except in cartilaginous species. It is composed mainly of bones, except in cartilaginous species like the ray and the shark. Bones are attached to bones by means of a particular elastic fiber called ligament. Bones are attached to bones by means of an elastic fiber called ligament. So now we're done with the forms and the types of skeleton. We will now be looking at the classification of skeleton. Skeleton are basically classified into two. We have the axial skeleton and we have the appendicular skeleton. I take it again. Skeleton are basically classified into two. We have the axial skeleton and we have the appendicular skeleton. The axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. The axial skeleton forms the central axis. Axial, it has to do with the axis. The central axis, axial skeleton. While the appendicular skeleton articulates with the axial skeleton. It works with the axial skeleton. It gets attached to the axial skeleton. So the notable axial skeleton are the skull, the vertebral column. The vertebral column is also called the backbone, and the breastbone. The breastbone is called the sternum. The breastbone is called the sternum. So again, the axial skeleton will have the skull, will have the vertebral column, and will have the breastbone, which is sternum. Under the appendicular skeleton, which articulates with the axial, will have the pelvic girdle. We have the pelvic girdle, we have the pectoral girdle, and we have the forelimb, and we have the hind limb. All these we're going to be looking at. So basically, let's take a look at the skull. Now, the skull is a particular skeleton that covers the brain. It covers the brain. By extension, the skull has the cranium. The cranium is known as the brain box. The skull has the cranium. The cranium is known as the brain box. Okay, let me. Okay, so the skull has the cranium, and the cranium is known as the brain box. The brain box. Now the cranium has 8 bones. The cranium has 8 bones. Okay. Now aside from the cranium, still on the skull has facial bones. The skull has facial bones. The skull has 14 facial bones. 14 facial bones. So 14 plus 8 is 22. So the skull has a total of 22 bones. The skull has a total of 22 bones. Now, if you are asked this question, what is the total number of bones in the skull? The answer is 22. If you are asked what is the total number of bones in the head, in your head, the total number of bones in your head is different from that of the skull. The skull basically houses at the brain and by extension the facial bones. But when you talk about the bones in the head, you go down to the one in the ear, and you go down to, there is a bone in the tongue. The bone in the tongue is called the hyoid bone. There's a bone in the nose. The bone in the nose is called the ethmoid bone. So we have the ethmoid bone in the ear, ethmoid bone in the nose, or the hyoid bone in the tongue, and all that. So by extension, if you're talking about the total number of bones in the head, it is 29. So we have 29 bones. We have 29 bones in the head, 29 bones. But in the skull, we have 22 bones. So the skull is divided into the cranium, and we have the facial bones as well. So aside from the facial bone, we also have the maxilla and the mandible. The maxilla is the upper jaw. The upper jaw is called the maxilla, while the lower jaw is called the mandible. Now, how do you get to remember this? Maximum. Maximum talks about you going up. So maxilla is the upper jaw, while the mandible is the lower jaw. The maximum is the upper jaw, while the mandible is the lower jaw. And that is it about the skull. And the skull has bones. We have the frontal bone. In the skull, we have the frontal bone, and we have the occipital bones, among many other bones that are found in the skull. So aside from the skull, we'll quickly look at the vertebral column. The vertebral column is known as the backbone or the spinal column. In some cases, they call it spinal column or the backbone. So in vertebral column, in mammals generally, in humans, vertebrae are numbered 33. In humans, we have 33 vertebrae. Basically, we have 33 vertebrae. And one thing about in mammals, the vertebral column is known as the central supporting structure. The vertebral column is known as the central supporting structure. We have 33 vertebrae. 33 vertebrae in mammals, in man, so to speak, and it's known as the central supporting structure. It has neural canal. It has neural canal for the passage of spinal cord. It has neural canal, and here for the passage of spinal cord. It has neural canal for the passage of spinal cord, and it has neural spine which projects upward dorsally. It has neural spine as well, which projects upward dorsally, and it has transverse process, 2 transverse process, so to speak. It is subdivided into the caudal vertebrae. We have the caudal vertebrae. We have the thoracic vertebrae. Caudal vertebrae, thoracic vertebrae. We have the lumbar. We have the we have the sacra. Okay, so we have the so we have the cervical. We have the cervical vertebrae, we have the thoracic, and we have the lumbar, we have the sacral, and we have the caudal. The cervical vertebrae is found in the neck region. It's found in the neck region. Neck region. As a matter of fact, we have 2 notable ones there. They are called the atlas. They are called the atlas and the axis. They are called the atlas and the axis. And the atlas and the axis. The atlas possess a large neural canal but no centrum. It possesses a large neural canal but no centrum. It's basically for nodding movement. Nodding. If I'm nodding, I'm making use of my atlas. And now for my axis, it is for rotation. You're rotating, you're making use of your axis. The axis possess centrum. It possess centrum, don't forget. And the centrum is even large, and the centrum projects into a process called odontoid process. So axis is for rotation. Atlas is basically for nodding. And so we have 7 cervical vertebrae, and we have 12 thoracic vertebrae, we have 5 lumbar, we have 5 sacra, and we have 4. So 12, 7, 12, 19, 19, 5, 24, 24, 5, 29, 29, 4, 33. Good. Correct. Very, very correct. So we have 7 cervical, we have 12 thoracic. Thoracic are found in the chest region. Thoracic are found in chest region. The lumbar is found at the upper abdominal region. The sacra is found at the lower abdominal region, the hip to be precise. While caudal is found at the tail region. We have 4 caudal bones. These bones fuse together to form the coccyx. Fuse together to form the coccyx. And now one thing again is that the vertebral column is attached to the sternum via the rib. In man, we have 12 ribs. We have got 12 ribs in man. Ribs in man. And now 7 of those ribs are true. We have true ribs. 7 of those ribs are true. And so it remains 5. Out of the 5, the first 3, 7. So the first 3 is number 8, number 9, and number 10. The first 3 are referred to as first rib, while the remaining 2, which is 11, 12, they are referred to as floating rib. Floating rib. As a matter of fact, first rib and floating rib, most times they are combined together. So you can just say we have 7 true rib and we have 5 first rib. Or you can say we have 3 first rib, notably, and we have 2 floating rib, but they are all first rib. So we're done with that. We will now move quickly into the world of appendicular skeleton. We'll look at the pelvic girdle, we'll look at the pectoral girdle, we'll look at the forelimb, and we'll look at the hind limb. Okay, so in addition to this, rabbit has about 16 caudal vertebrae, while rat has close to 27, 28, 29, 30 caudal vertebrae. Now, never forget, rat is a mammal. Rat is a mammal. We have black rat, we have brown rat as well. So now we'll be looking at the appendicular skeleton. Okay, so now we've looked at the axial skeleton extensively, and now we'll be looking at the appendicular skeleton. And what are the appendicular skeleton? These are skeletons that articulate with the axial skeleton. We've got the pelvic girdle, the pectoral girdle, and the hind limb, and the forelimb. So now the pectoral girdle, for the pectoral girdle, we have the scapula. The scapula is known as the shoulder blade. The scapula is known as the shoulder blade, while the clavicle is called the collarbone. The collarbone. So we have the scapula, the shoulder blade, and we have the clavicle, the collarbone. And one thing is that the scapula has a depression. The depression is called the glenoid cavity. It's called the glenoid cavity, and it is in this glenoid cavity that the humerus fits into. It is in this glenoid cavity that the humerus fits into to form the shoulder joint. To form the shoulder joint, the glenoid cavity that the humerus fits into it to form the shoulder joint. So now let's look at the pelvic girdle. The pelvic girdle is found in the hips. The pelvic girdle is found in the hip. It consists of 2 bones, the right pelvis and the left pelvis. And now down to the fore and hind limb. Fore and hind limb. The fore and hind limb are built on a plan called the pentadactyl limb plan. It simply means the 5-feet limb plan. Pentadactyl limb plan. 5. The forelimb consists of the upper arm and the lower arm. Upper arm and the lower arm. The forelimb consists of the upper arm and the lower arm. While the hind limb consists of the thigh, the shank, the ankle, and the foot. The ankle, the bone in the ankle is also called the kneecap is also called patella. So we have the shank, we have the foot, and we have the thigh. So now, basically look, okay, I think I would use myself as a specimen. So right here at this particular point, we have a bone here. The bone is called the humerus. The bone in the forearm here is called the humerus. Right down here, we have the ulna and the radius. Ulna and the radius. This one is longer than these 2 other bones. We have the humerus, we have the ulna, and the radius they are here. And now down here we have what we call, okay, down here we have what we call the carpels. We have the carpels here. The carpels from here to here is called the carpels. From here down here is called the metacarpels. So here we have the carpels. We have the metacarpels. And the finger bone is called the phalanges. The finger bone is called the phalanges. So we have the humerus, the ulna, the radius, the carpels, and the metacarpels, and the phalanges. So those are the bones of the forelimb. So now down to the in limb, we have what we call the femur, the thigh bone. The thigh bone happens to be the largest and the strongest bone in the body. We have the femur, F-E-M-U-R. So aside from the femur, we have two other bones that are smaller compared to it. We have the tibia, and we have the fibula. And so we have the tibia, we have the fibula, and we have the knee cap, which is known as patella. Also down we also have the foot. And so there down in the foot, we have the tarsal, we have the metatarsal. Just like the way we have the carpels and the metacarpals, we have the tarsals, we have the metatarsals, and as usual, the toenail, the toe bone is also called phalanges. It's also called phalanges. So now down in here, we have the incus, we have steros, we have armor, we have ossicles as well. So now we're done with bones. We'll be looking at joints. So the portion or the position or the precise location where bones tend to be attached to another bones is called joint. That position where bones get to meet another bone, where there is articulation of bones to bone, or at times it could even be bone to muscle, is basically called joints. It talks about a point, joint. And most of them say, let's go to a joint. Let's go to the place where we can meet. So the meeting point is called joint. And so joint is basically divided into two. Joint is basically divided into two. I will have the movable joint, I will have the immovable joint. So the name actually speaks volume. Movable joint talks about those joints that are capable of moving, they are capable of rotating, they are capable of changing position with respect to time. Immovable or fixed joint talks about those joints that are just they are fixed in a particular place. So we start with that one. Example is actually the suture. The suture is the joint that is found in the skull. The brain part, the skull, we call it suture. It is an immovable type of joint. While the movable type of joint are broadly divided into four. They are divided into four. While the hinge joint, has the ability to rotate 180 degrees. They are found 180 degrees. You can't go 180 degrees. Ability to rotate 180 degrees. They are found in the elbow and the knee. The elbow and the knee. While the hinge joint, the ball and second joint have the ability to rotate thoroughly. That's through 360 degrees. They are found in the shoulder, and the hip. So we have the pivot joint. The pivot joint is found in the neck region, where we have the atlas and the axis. In the neck region, where you can easily you can do your nudging or your rotation, the atlas and the axis. And lastly, we have the gliding and sliding joint, and they are found in the wrist and the ankle as well. So they are found in the wrist and the ankle. Wow, it's been a nice time with you. Some questions will pop up on your screen. Try as much as possible to attempt them. You can also go through this video again in order to get acquainted to it. Thank you very much for your time at this point.